Check, 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 check. And a good, pleasant evening to you, everyone. Sorry for the lateness on the stream. Had some technical issues basically most of the day, but let me pop myself on here for you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have enjoyed your Wednesday. Hope you enjoyed your week. As we take a look out here in downtown, you can see a really thick layer of clouds that has really been noticeable throughout the late afternoon and into the evening, starting to move on in. And that will progress through our area as we head throughout the night tonight. And we have some things to discuss tonight. Along with this, we do have rain chances yet again returning. And let me adjust the brightness of the light here. I'm sorry, it was a little bright for my liking. But anyways, we do have more rain chances. Probably another Saturday with some rain chances. And then our temperatures take a little bit more of a hit as we head into the early work week. Maybe not as, maybe a little bit more than probably last week was. We may have some freezing temperatures out in our highest elevations out west for Monday morning. We'll talk about that. But really, this is another fortunate situation where our temperatures don't go crazy low, at least in terms of the preliminary outlook, knock on wood. So we have a lot of that to discuss tonight. So let me just start off here, and I'll take you to dual box. There we go. And this is a model that I'm looking at here. So we'll talk about, and I'll set it the Monday morning just to give you a preview of what you can expect. But we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's first things first talk about our satellite imagery here. And I'm going to stop this here. We'll put it up to the latest time frame. You can see that thick layer of cloud cover as I zoom in here on the mid-Atlantic region. And actually, I will take you full screen here. So hang on. There we go. Well, I forgot I'm in studio mode, so you can't really see that. There we go. Forgive me. But there we are. And you can see that thick layer of cloud cover that is basically taking over the western, almost the western two-thirds of the state here. The cloud cover there, that will persist. That may break at some times throughout the night tonight, but generally speaking, we should expect some cloud cover as we head into the evening hours. Now, we're in the evening hours already as we head into the overnight hours tonight, okay? More cloud cover will pick up, especially with this low that is out here centered towards the upper plains, the Dakotas, Minnesota, northwestern Iowa, northeastern Nebraska, associated with a cold front that will be moving through Friday and into Saturday. So get used to this cloud cover because it will be impacting us yet again. I'm looking out the window here in my house. And my windows are facing west. I can see that area of cloud cover moving closer, even more so than, let's say, an hour ago. So there is that. Let me just play around with this geo color. These blue here, forgive me, because that might make the most sense in terms of the visible, since we're losing later. Actually, yeah, this might be the best one right now. You can see that cloud cover really starting to be persistent, as you saw with the downtown shot. So that cloud cover will pick up throughout the night. Moving along now, let's head towards, which direction I want to go? Let's talk about numbers here real quick. Numbers. So at the airport, we reached a high of 64 after starting off at 47. To give perspective, our averages are 68.46, so right around where we should be for this time of the year. We picked up some rain. I believe we picked up most, if not all of this. Forgive me, this is most of it, because we did have 11/100ths of an inch of rain prior to this rain that we saw during last weekend. So we picked up, during doing the math here, 76/100ths. So basically 3/4 of an inch of rain. Not bad, but still, we need more. I mean, we're running an inch and a third deficit for the month still where we should be at 2.22, and for the year our deficit's grown back to almost 4.5 inches now. So that is an issue. Wait, hang on. That's not even the latest one. This is the latest one. Forgive me, y'all. This is crazy. This was bad on my end, but still 66.46, 68.46. Still not not much change in terms of the temperature department compared to our averages, and our deficit's growing above 4.5 inches. We're 1.5 below where we should be for the month. Uh, it's not good, and our second half overall surplus is starting to dwindle a little bit. We're barely above normal for fall. 3/4 of an inch, no, a third of an inch above normal for fall, compared to this time last year, 7.64, which was a well above, which was a good ways above, at least considerably in terms of where we are now, at least. So there is that. And looking at this, tomorrow 67.45 is the high and the low averages respectively. So we are on the downhill trend with that. Sunrise tomorrow 7:19, sunset at 6:24. So we are heading towards daylight savings. We will have to talk about that in a couple weeks, basically. I believe I'll have to remember, but if I'm not mistaken, daylight savings ends. Is it early? Yeah, November the 5th. So not this upcoming Sunday, but 2 Sundays from now. 2 weeks from this upcoming Sunday, we turn our clocks back again. So there is that. Times are changing fairly quickly. First things first, let's talk about our setup here in terms of our precipitation. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit better so you can see this on the screen. I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to show you the Euro first because it was an older run, okay? They don't have like 6Z, 12Z, 18Z runs. Like they don't have constant runs every 6 hours. They do one twice a day. They do runs twice a day. They do 12Z and they do Euro sometimes does this. It just depends on what run I can get my hands on. Like, for example, I'm only getting my hands on the 12Z right now. They actually do the 3 runs every 6 hours. I just haven't gotten this yet. In some cases, they do it. But some days they may not. I mean, Tuesday they did 612. They did Midnight Z, 6Z, 12Z, 18Z, and I'm waiting for the 18 to drop, which may be a while. But anyways, Sundays they do the same. Mondays they actually do the same. I'm just waiting on the 18Z. It's a little odd in how they do their runs, in some cases at least. But anyways, I'm showing you this because this is the latest Euro that I have my hands on. I have yet to see the 18Z run. So this is 12Z, which would be converting Zulu to Eastern about 8 a.m. This was the run that I got this morning. And as you can see here, I'm actually going to go back in time. There's our cold front approaching, right? This is 3Z. So that'll be 11 o'clock Thursday night. Likely when I'm getting done doing recordings, hopefully, instead of doing them because I've been up doing them so it's late for a while now. But as we head into Friday morning, here's 2 a.m. and we have a little coastal disturbance that may bring some rain to the eastern shore a little bit earlier. So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit so you can see it here. There's that coastal disturbance. I'll actually use this. I do. Yeah, there we go. There's our coastal disturbance. I'm just going to use the measuring tool for that. So there's our coastal disturbance. That's going to be making its way up the coastline. That may bring some rain a little bit early for those in the Delmarva region and maybe the eastern shore as well. But this is 21. it'll be 5 o'clock on Friday evening as this rain comes in, and this is 8 p.m. Friday night. This is 11 p.m. And the Euro, at least in this run from this morning, had it being basically done with by early morning, if not midnight in some areas, before some residual bands started to push through, as you can see there. So, Euro, it's looking a little bit more optimistic for us. GFS, well, it's holding the rain around. It's keeping the rain around for Saturday, at least to some degree, a little bit more. This is the 18Z run. So this is the 2 o'clock run from the GFS. So this is a more updated run that I have of the two major weather models that I use, or that a lot of meteorologists, for that matter, use. So looking at time, this is 8 a.m. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You can see the rain with that coastal disturbance impacting the eastern shore a little bit earlier. And then the rain filters in for the afternoon and into the evening. Here's 8 o'clock again. Here's 2 a.m. It's keeping it around probably into the early morning hours. Here's 8 a.m. It's still keeping it around in areas primarily east of the Chesapeake, but still, even west of the Chesapeake, according to this run, we may get some rain out of this as this tries to pull away. I'll zoom in. Oh, I can't really zoom in much tighter. I can. There we go. But even then, that's kind of jumbly. So I'm just not going to try that at this point. I'm just trying to give you the best perspective that I possibly can. But even then, that starts to pull away. And this is, I'm going to zoom out here. I think this was a custom 2. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The center low would already be up in New England by that point, according to the GFS. Some residual bands of rain, not out of the realm of possibility as well. And then Sunday's a really solid day. The high pressure really moves in and takes control of our weather. But because of that, our temperatures will dip for Monday morning. Notice this. Late Sunday night, early Monday morning, that high pressure sticks around. And that will result in our temperature drop. And this is more of a really in-depth explanation of what I'm going to be discussing when you see this recording that I'm going to be doing for the forecast on Friday when I post it. So keep that in mind. There are a lot of things that I may go over that I may not discuss in the weather, at least weekend weather, because of time constraints that I may have. Because I am running this on syndicated local TV, not too big, small community television, but still, I'm running it on at least a platform that can reach some people. So that's a good thing, at least in that regard. But anyways, with that said, how much rain could we pick up from this? I'm going to zoom in kind of tight on this for you so you can see it a little bit better. But could we pick up maybe half an inch? I think these are really pushing it in terms of totals. I think that'd be very localized, where we may see areas of up to half an inch. I think maybe 3/4 of an inch might be a little overkill with this, but still, locally, half an inch, possible. Some areas may not get much at all, to be honest. It just depends on where those small pockets of heavier rain go over. All right, so keep that in mind. I'm also, whoa, didn't mean to do that. Let's do this. Okay, what am I doing? All right, down key, up key. All right, side. There we go. I forget the controls on both the websites here that I use for the weather models are a little bit different. So there is that. But we could pick up some rain. Some areas may not get a whole lot at all, and that's not good, because I could just take a look at let's look at do I have Hagerstown's? I should have Hagerstown, and I'll refresh this. Hagerstown, did it not update? Well, actually it did. I be darned it did. Web the browser I'm using is a little misleading in that regard in terms of trying to get the information for the official stations. But nonetheless, Hagerstown they had a high of 58 after starting out at 50, and then looking at the rain deficits, they are running a big amount below where they should be for the year. Larger than us. They're approaching 9 inches below where they should be again. It's a problem statewide. A lot of locations have been running anywhere between, let's say, 7.5 and 10 inches below where they should be in terms of rainfall for the year. It has been a problem. Naval Academy, Annapolis. I can look at this. Now they're running over 11 inches below where they should be for this time of the year. 11 inches below where they should be. Those are big deficits here, and that's causing a lot of problems in terms of crop yield. That's been a big issue, and then that relates to why prices are starting to go up in terms of crops, at least locally, at least to some degree, at least in my belief, because you don't get a whole lot of rain unless you get some way to water your crops and your plants. That can be an issue, and that doesn't bode well. And also, that can also cause problems in terms of ground saturation. Like, let's say you get heavy rain over one area for a long period of time and the ground's not saturated enough. That's one way you can get flooding pretty quickly as well. One I want to look at here as well. They probably won't have. Yeah, they probably won't have the information I need for other stuff until later tonight. Let's talk about real quickly here, and I want to be real quick with this as well because I don't want to take up too much of your time. We're already about, 20 minutes in, something like that. Temperatures. And I'm just going to do this and scroll you down. Come on. Come on. What are you doing? There we go. I have my streaming browser in the main device display, and then the secondary device, my secondary monitor, in which I use to extend and do productivity, to another one. So that was acting funny there for a second. But anyways, let's look at Monday morning. This is going to be Monday morning. Try low 40s, maybe some upper 30s in some metropolitan areas. Of course, warmer by the water. But look at this. I mean, Cumberland, right around freezing. Oakland, Deep Creek Lake, Monday morning, could be well into the 20s. That's something we have to consider as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's frost advisories, freeze warnings in effect because of this, because the end of growing season is pretty much upon us. Harvest season's pretty much upon us, and any plants, crops in these conditions, that's tough sledding, and those crops, those plants can die because of that. So keep that in mind as we head into the work week, at least the early portions of the work week, especially out west. Frost, freeze, a distinct possibility with that as well. But we rebound fairly nicely. I mean, look at where we start off. And then look where we end up. Not bad. I mean, starting out maybe in the upper 30s to lower 40s and ending the day still around 60, not bad. I mean, Deep Creek Lake, we were just talking about them being around freezing. I think 55 might be a little high, but can I see them getting to, let's say, 50? Even then, that would be a good situation for them, considering what Monday morning could look like in terms of the temperatures there. So that would be one big swing, a positive swing in their favor, considering that. Tuesday morning, not as brutal, and then even warmer, and then you get the point. And we could easily find ourselves near 70 for the work week. So that's something we do have to consider as well. Also, I want to look here and see if we got any potential storms arising. Well, again, this would be another late week, early weekend system potentially in the works, but I don't want to dwell too much on that right now. I'm just giving you long term an idea of what could potentially happen, but also please take that with a grain of salt. Anything else I want to discuss here? Um, well, let me also explain this. The reason why these temperatures on Monday morning could be so cold, at least in terms of lows. Look at this. This is going to be a massive area of high pressure building in, at least for the early run, that the high is around us. A strong area of high pressure at that. And that will really build in that cold air, those clear conditions that help the cold air move in. So if you're wondering about that, that's why. And then it starts to pull away as we head towards the middle portions of the work week, at least a little bit. Still hanging around, and then potentially another system to worry about towards the latter half of next week or next weekend as well. But the timing, of course, would be very uncertain on that. But there is that. We've had a relatively modest area of high pressure during the week. That's why our temperatures haven't been super warm. We're getting super cold at night, at least in the early runs, and super warm during a good chunk of the week. But anyways, at that, that's the science behind it, to some degree, at least. What else do I want to discuss? Let me see what Euro has in terms of that early run, because I'm curious. Yeah, I think Euro is being a little bit more realistic, and I'll zoom in for you. Maybe up to a half an inch locally in some areas, a third of an inch potentially, and would be the highest amount commonly. But we're talking either a quarter inch up to a third maybe, or getting next to nothing, depending on where those heavier rain bands do go, and if that rain can persist and sustain its intensity and its coverage in a certain area for a long period of time. So there's that. With that, I'm just gonna zoom everything out. I think this is already zoomed out. Yeah, we're zoomed out here. I think it just zooms it out for most. Yeah, there we go. There we go. And then we'll do the same thing. That should just apply to everyone. All right. And then we'll do the same for this. There is that. And I will bring myself back in. So hang on. And there we go. So that is really the strategy behind the forecast, and I think we'll actually hang on a second here. I want to check something as well that I kind of overlooked. Come on, there we go. We're gonna look at. We'll actually look at wind, because I'm curious. Could it be a little breezy for Sunday? I know the Ravens are in town. The Lions will play at the bank. And it's a 1 o'clock game. Potentially, we're talking 14, 15 knots. So potentially some 15-mile-per-hour winds, perhaps. Maybe up to 20 in terms of gusts. But it's not looking all that crazy. I mean, I can look at all these other products as well. Lower dynamics. Let's talk about. I can also just look at some other products here. High above, that's wind. I'm also just looking at a lot of this. Well, there could be some wind, but not going to be too wicked. And I'm going to look at one more here. 10 wind. Sunday. Oh, not that bad. Maybe a northwesterly wind that could bode some problems, perhaps. I'm gonna try. Let me look at point and click soundings. I'm gonna try one for the bank here real quick. So get this in Baltimore, and I'm also quick. Relatively speaking, not terrible. Could be better. I'm looking at this. Our wind will probably not be all that terrible, but could be a factor, especially in kicking, special teams, punting, field goals, kickoffs, all that stuff that may have to be considered. But right now, it's not looking too terrible. 10 to 15 mile per hour winds potentially, gusts maybe up to 20. But even with that said, it shouldn't be too big of a factor unless things start to change in that department. And if it does at any point between now and the recording on Thursday, I will note it. We'll make sure I do note that. But, anyways, that is it for the weather discussion, at least this week. I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday evening. Be safe, be well. I will record tomorrow and have it sent out on Friday. And I hope to see you then. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone.